Good afternoon, cherished viewers and listeners. This is time for our Leadership 360 conversation once again this week. Wherever you are watching us or listening to us, it's a pleasure having you tune in. I am your regular host, Dr. Victor Abbey. Let's take that quick message from our sponsors and take our Leadership 360 pledge, and we shall be right back.
Are you looking for an excellent professional risk management and training solutions provider? Look no further. Your ultimate solution provider is here at V5 Solutions Limited. We support you with our professional skills in building capacity of your teams in managing all your operational risks. Our bespoke solutions include private and corporate security risk management and training, fraud investigation, occupational safety and health management and training, project monitoring, evaluation and research, supply of private security, logistics equipment. Our solutions are professionally delivered with in-depth focus on people, processes and procedures, the environment and ultra-modern technology. Contact us now on 0303 957136 and 053 5176 or send us an email at info@v5solutionslimited.com for a partnership that strengthens your company for an excellent sustainable productivity and profitability. Visit our website at www.v5solutionslimited.com for more details. V5 Solutions Limited, your ultimate professional risk management and training hub.
Leadership has been with us since Genesis chapter 1. We must learn, unlearn, relearn, and accelerate. That's why we are sharing our experience, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, as we say. Take off and learn from our mistakes.
You must be selfless in your leadership. Selflessness means you have to focus on the benefits others derive from your leadership rather than what you derive from others. And that's what will change our society.
I promise on my honor to be a better leader every day, faithful and loyal to my country, organization, and fellow team members, countrymen and women. I pledge myself to remain true to the core values of integrity and self-discipline through my daily choices and actions. My mind is alert, focused at all times. I shall show respect to everyone always and every time. I remain a better leader and team player always. So I pledge.
Welcome back. This is Leadership 360 Conversation. We are live on Metro TV, DSTV channel 277, and on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana, and also on V.U.C.A online radio. This is your weekly program that delves into the rudiments of leadership, where we all have a conversation for our own understanding, for us to learn, unlearn, and relearn, to accelerate the development of our leadership skills and the betterment of our society, nation, and continent at large. Indeed, it's been an amazing time having you around all this while. This week, we're going to delve into, or today, we're going to examine or explore the topic leadership in the digital age. Indeed, you agree with me that we are in a space where everything is considered digital. We can have this conversation meaningfully with someone who, or having on board someone who is a practitioner. And so on set with me today is a technology and innovation professional who has been there for over 20 years and has assisted many companies and organizations to drive their performance and productivity based on technology or digital platforms. We are talking about an individual who has been trained in computer science and has a master's in business administration finance. And she is also a member of Women Intelligentsia in Service and in Excellence. Service and Excellence. We are talking about no other person than the CEO of Eagle Innovations and co-founder of Superfluid Labs, Miss Winifred Kotin. Winifred, welcome to Leadership 360.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abbey.
It's great having you around. I wouldn't want to waste more time. Straight up, we'll go into the discussion. To set the ball rolling, like we all know, technology has gone through different phases. Likewise, leadership. Leadership has transitioned through different phases of industrial revolution, and we are where it's largely described as the digital age, or if you like, new technology space. And one wonders how leadership is performing or is to perform within the space we find ourselves in now. Let me quickly ask, how did we get here? How did we get to this digital space? Can you take us down history?
Yes, Dr. Abbey, thank you so much for having me on the Leadership 360 session this afternoon. Indeed, we've really come from a very far off place, and today digital is part of the human experience. Everything we do is influenced largely by the various technologies we have. So going back, I think we have to go back to about the mid 20th century. That's when a lot of the innovations we have today started. It started off with computing technologies being innovated, and then it went on to the internet. So when computing technology was innovated and then connectivity became possible, it made it easy for us to start adopting the use of digital technologies as we have it today. The other great revolution that happened was the innovation of personal computing. Hitherto, computing was something that was reserved for very advanced institutions like research institutions in academia, in the military, in places where such advanced technologies were monumental in their operations. But when personal computing got invented, it meant everyone stood a chance to have access to the powerful computing devices we have. And then we went on from personal computing, we have mobile technologies now. So where we have our mobile phones, which are very, very powerful and highly sophisticated. Then we also went on to start having other interesting things like software engineering, which is building services which mimic actual behaviors, taken out into the technology space. So for instance, if you take something like internet banking, you have the whole experience of standing in front of a teller to transact being expressed on the internet banking. And that revolution also led us to another new dimension, which is in the area of data. So the softwares that we started building to digitize various services and products were launched, created data points because the digital footprints were left. And from the data, we started to create understanding of trends, of behaviors, and then we could now predict various things, which moved on to artificial intelligence, which is one of the most recent innovations around us. But there was also another key and critical point in this revolution, which is around globalization. So when we have access to connectivity and everyone got connected, it meant that we could now do a whole lot of things together, concurrently, globally. And certainly that also influenced culture. So now we have a lot of behaviors which are universally adapted because we have access to connectivity. We also have access to handheld computing devices. So naturally, these things have had a way of shaping how we work and how we live. And today we are in the digital age.
That's quite a journey that we have. I remember when I was in the university, only very few people could have access to computers and even mobile phones. So we have come a long way, and that is why it's important that we examine this topic. So yes, you did mention it has changed the way we work. So the work culture has changed. The workplace too has changed drastically, where things that were done by, a lot of people are now being done just by a press of a button. But before we proceed to appreciate leadership role in, all these things, let's quickly establish some meanings to some terminologies that, being bandied around. You hear people talk about digitization, digitalization, and so on and so forth, digital transformation and all that. When we talk about digitization, what are we talking about? Likewise, digitalization and all those terminologies.
Okay, so digitalization or digitization, depending on whether what you're doing, is bringing that physical experience into the computing experience. So for instance, I give the example of the bank tellering experience we have. That experience of standing in front of a teller to either withdraw or deposit money or to send money across, when that experience is programmed using software engineering and then taken out of the banking hall into the hands of anybody else who doesn't stand within the bank to still perform that service. We'll say a digitalization of an experience has happened. And this is has been the key driver of change. So when a lot of organizations undergo digital transformation, what they are doing is to take some of the services which were experienced physically at their places of operations into a 24/7 available space, which happens in the technology space. And one thing I want to say is, whenever we think of technology or digital, what we need to think of is the condensing of time and the escalation speed. So if you want to allow something to be captured, so time is no more its limits, then we think of we need to digitalize it. If you want an experience to be very efficient, very fast, then we think of we need to digitalize it. So anything around making these experiences very fast, efficiently delivered and available, even when there's no more limitation of time and space, then we would say it has been digitalized or it's a digital service or platform.
So in simple terms, the translation of manual way of doing things or physical way of doing things to machine assisted or computer assisted way of, getting a service or processing something.
Excellent.
Okay. All right. So having said that, one of the key drivers, as you rightly said, or the new development within our space is artificial intelligence, and others call it generative AI. What are these things? Can you just give us an understanding?
Okay, so artificial intelligence, I think earlier on I mentioned software engineering, and software engineering is instructions that tells the computer to act when certain to act in a certain way so that a task is performed. So a manual task is programmed using software engineering. That was where we were till artificial intelligence came in. Our artificial intelligence is beyond software engineering, where we now have intelligence displayed by the same computer as if to perform certain tasks, as if it was a human being thinking on the feet to make such decisions. So for instance, if you take an experience like decision making that happens within organizations, for leadership, there are a lot of times that you need to make critical decisions on an event or a consumer action based on your knowledge and expertise and experience as a leader. Now, what we have been able to successfully do is to train computers to be able to perform some of these tasks in decision making, in creativity, which was initially done by human beings, and that became possible when we taught the machine to learn. So artificial intelligence fundamentally is the ability to teach the machine to learn information regarding a context, and then take decisions as if it was a human being who has learned and is now acting in that capacity.
So in as much as that has advantages, it has disadvantage for teams, because if these computers will be acting in place of humans, it's a challenge. But let's look at the advantages. But before you go to the advantages of that, let me just go through some statistics that I picked up. It said generative AI is, by 2025, generative AI will account for 10% of all data produced. And the forecasted AI annual growth rate from 2020 to 2027 is 33.2%. And by 2030, AI will lead an estimated $15.7 trillion or 26% increase in global GDP. Viewers, that means that as leaders, we need to pay attention to some of these things. That's why we are having this discussion this afternoon. So Winifred, what are some of the advantages that this artificial intelligence, because some leaders prior to this program express, reservations and the dangers or the threats posed by artificial intelligence. A layer of yes.
Well, I think leadership is also synonymous with managing change. And one constant in the world is change. The environment change, expectations of consumers or the people you serve change, regulatory factors affect change, regional activities also, or the market activities also affect change. But technology has become a key influence of change globally because of the advent of artificial intelligence. And indeed, artificial intelligence has so far been the most powerful of the innovations in the technology space. There are advantages and there are also disadvantages. But the good news is the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages, in that we now have the possibility of creating a lot of new services, new opportunities to capture value, to generate revenue, which we did not have before, because the human capacity has limitations. So for instance, if we take, all of us get tired at the end of the day. There's a limit to how much work we can do reasonably, and then sometimes we need to actually take breaks. Most organizations would have a leave plan for everyone. But with artificial intelligence, it now allows organizations to continue delivering value creating new opportunities for value without the limitations of our biology as a human being. So that's one of the biggest opportunities. Now the other one is taking advantage of the global stage. So I mentioned that the internet revolution has been one of the key drivers of the digital age. Now with artificial intelligence adding on, it means that you now have the expansion of markets. So if your services were limited to, let's say, Ghana, because we are in Ghana, now you can use different resources, including artificial intelligence, to also generate and create services that are available even beyond your market, because now the knowledge is there, the data is there, and then we can learn from data. So you can learn from data that exists within your market or your context of business operation, and even in other jurisdictions, which is a big advantage. And then the error rates, a lot of there's loss based on error. It's normal. All leaders would admit that we've all had to struggle with losses based on human limitations. I, as a leader, face that on a regular basis. But when you employ a tool such as artificial intelligence, we don't have such risk. Such failures are automatically eliminated. So that is why leaders in some places where the knowledge is well understood are able to take advantage of artificial intelligence and see it as a valuable resource for increasing productivity and increasing revenue, and not look at it only from the perspective of the risk, but the risk is managed and the advantages are also well developed so that they can be enjoyed by organizations.
Okay. Now, I will not belabor the point. Let me quickly, you touch on some disadvantages, but let me cite this example. A farmer or a farmer who has a company and he is into agriculture, how can this help him or her to run his business very well?
Okay, so let's look at the farmer and look at where the advantages of a resource such as artificial intelligence can come in. Disease is a major area of challenge for a lot of farmers. So one of the good places artificial intelligence is being used in the agriculture space is the early detection of diseases in crops. So the innovation is so advanced that with an image on your phone, you can quickly tell whether a leaf you have in your plant is diseased, and then at what stage it is, so that you can quickly get the necessary interventions to ensure we don't have widespread disease in a farm.
So I believe all these ones are going to have to be programmed.
They have to be programmed. They have to, and there's a lot of research that has been going. There are a lot of even organizations in Ghana that are busily researching into diseases we have within our agriculture space, and then within targeted areas like in the cocoa, in some of the commodities for exports, which are of high value in terms of revenue earning to the nation. So these are very great places that as a nation we can already tap into to increase the revenues we are making in the agriculture sector.
Winifred, we just got started. we are yet to get into full gear. Let's take a very quick breather, and when we are back, we'll continue. Welcome back, cherished viewers and listeners. So far, we've been able to give some background to the digital age that we find ourselves in, where our guest has taken us through the journey, and then also some of the advantages that these new technologies offer us as leaders. I will go to her straight and ask some of the disadvantages that make some leaders uncomfortable.
So when it comes to this digital age and the revolutions, certainly change is one of the biggest challenges that keep leaders awake at night, because sometimes you have a choice over the change, sometimes you are forced to change because your competitors have changed, your market is dwindling, so you are forced to change. And the biggest risk people have, especially, is products, how the market is rapidly being reduced because it's easier to create new products now for some of the retail services space and the consumer spaces compared to out of the digital age. So for instance, if you were establishing a business, you needed physical space, but now that same service can easily be done through technology and through mobile phones, which is far less cheaper compared to the amount of capital you needed to have physical space. So that is causing a lot of nightmare for some people because they are seeing their market dwindle overnight. And then there's also the change which has to do with driving the internal processes to be able to enhance, take advantage of this digital age and the digital enabled platforms. So that is also another cause of concern. And then because we also have increased globalization, people are also sometimes afraid of losing the talent and people they have trained because they are now in a competitive market where everyone can have access to your talent. So I'll give an instance. So in the past, if I worked in an organization, my HR manager, my team members, my bosses, my employer knew me. Today, I put it out on LinkedIn. Everyone else knows I have the skill sets and I am within this specific industry. So that's also an additional risk leaders are having because now holding on to key talent it's become quite difficult because of all these technology revolutions. And then there's also security-related risk because some of these digital platforms introduce new threats which the organization or the business did not have before, like cybersecurity. So how do you deal with that? And then if you choose to evolve as a business and you are not putting in place the right strategies, how do you manage the loss in jobs? Because that may have been an unplanned expense. You perhaps didn't have any plan on how to manage these these people who are going to have to be changed from roles that are taken over by digital platforms, which are better, more efficient, and able to deliver faster and better results. So these are some of the risks that people are faced with as leaders on a daily basis, but they have different ways of managing them.
Anyway, in as much as from your submission so far, in as much as they may pose threats to leaders, I see a lot of advantages in there because once you embrace or you appreciate the existence of these disadvantages and you take advantage of the good parts or the positive parts of the new technologies, it will inure to your benefit eventually.
Certainly.
So leaders out there, all of us must appreciate the fact that technology has come to stay. The new technologies will inform our decisions, will drive our businesses, and will enable our, decision making as well. You were touching on a very critical issue that has to do with retention and the workplace generally. The issue of Gen Zs at the workplace, Generation Z at the workplace, said to be very highly technologically inclined. If you are a leader, or for our leaders out there, what would be your advice in employing the new technologies to handle the Gen Zs at the workplace?
The biggest advantage of that generation of workforce is that they are not afraid of technology. They have already learned how to use some of these technologies by themselves. So when you introduce a new service or a new operations process which is highly digitized, they can easily adapt. I have led several digital transformation related change processes in a variety of organizations and in different scenarios, and I realized that sometimes it's even the fear of the technology is the source of failure, but it's not the technology in itself. So having some of these new Gen Z professionals on board becomes helpful for adapting some of these technologies, because most of them have embraced technology by themselves. They've learned how to use some of these technologies, and they don't have a phobia for technology, unlike some other people that you would need to go through a very systematic process of building capacity and in fact eliminating some of the fears they would have, so that they are able to confidently use the technologies that would be put in place. I think that is one of the advantages of having that generation, a fair mix of that within your organizations. They may sometimes lack the domain expertise that I'll call them the core team that has existed within the organization for a while would have, but a good blend would ensure that we're able to enjoy the best of both worlds.
So leaders must take advantage of the existence of Gen Zs at their workplaces to promote the digital transformations that they want to embark on. Now, the issue of hybrid work space has become necessary, especially with the onset of COVID-19. We saw it became handy where only few people were expected to be at the work space or workplace, and the rest were working remotely. What will you say leaders can still, use that platform, that hybrid work space to achieve? How can they benefit from that hybrid work system?
So the advantages of the hybrid workspace goes back to the core advantages of technology, which is time and space constraints are eliminated or reduced. Because we now have a lot of opportunity for hybrid work, the limitation of an employer or management or leadership is not the physical space. How many desks must I purchase, the wear and tear from the use of office space. So all of these things are removed. And then the hybrid work also has advantages in terms of the stress of transporting from one place to the other. So you find that some of the teams who work in the hybrid model tend to have better well-being. People can exercise effectively. People can take better care of themselves in addition to working, because some of the constraints of physically moving from one place to the other in a high traffic prone place like if you live in Accra, some of that is reduced. So hybrid is actually a very good benefit for organizations that are looking to take full advantage of the digital space. And then we also have the advantage of even hiring beyond your jurisdiction, because it is now possible to have people also work totally remotely without you ever meeting them. So if you have a talent need that is a bit scarce, that kind of professional expertise is not easy to get. You now have the opportunity to hire people out of your jurisdiction. And then I particularly as a woman also like hybrid work. For people who have parenting responsibilities, one of the biggest challenges is when and how to manage domestic responsibilities and then like parenting, picking children up from school. Opportunities like hybrid work and the remote work also allows us to infuse all aspects of our life together with work and be still productive, efficient, and deliver performance across without looking like failures because you had to leave the office early in order to attend to other responsibilities.
So leaders, we have to appreciate the fact that physical presence does not necessarily mean higher productivity in the current digital age that we find ourselves in. So even as you have indicated to us, it's a source of stress management also for our workforce. So people can have a relaxed way of working, not stressing themselves, you know, driving all the way to the physical location to work and all that. Now, viewers, this conversation is so broad, but we're trying as much as possible to give meaning to it so that as leaders, we appreciate the fact that technology available to us is to aid us in our leadership as well. Now, what would you say should be the leadership or the leader's posture at the workplace or within teams in the face of all these digital or technologies that we find around ourselves?
The most important is to build your confidence and understanding of what the digital age advantages are to you within your organization. So every organization has a vision. They have some long-term plans. They have short-term plans. You ask yourself, as a leader or as a team manager, how can these revolutions enable me achieve my vision in a faster and a more efficient way? How can I deliver the results expected by stakeholders, taking advantage of the digital technologies that are coming up on a daily basis? That, for me, is the best posture to go into the digital age with. Not that of fear, but that of asking yourself, given where I am, given the vision, given the goal, how can technology be used? How can digitalization be used? Because technology and digital are only tools. They are not a product. They are not even strategy. They are tools to enable you achieve your objectives. Okay, so for instance, if a strategy is to increase revenue or to reduce cost or to improve on customer service, then you ask yourself, which technologies do I need to put in place to enable us do that? And for me, I'm really key on asking the right questions, and that's some of the ways I like to challenge leadership. If you ask the right questions from the perspective of use of technology, you find that you're able to embrace the change more effectively.
All right, you continue. You will definitely continue that conversation. But viewers, you can join us in the conversation by dialing 0531-982298. 0531-982298. You can equally send a WhatsApp text, and we shall read it for our guests to assist us to appreciate the rudiments of digital space or digital transformation that we find ourselves in. Now, talking about data literacy. Last 2 weeks, we spoke on this program about data literacy, where leaders need to appreciate data. You equally mentioned it in your submission, that so much data is available to us. What should leaders do with data? But just hold your thoughts. Mohammed Sadiq from Tamale, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mohammed. Hello, good afternoon, Mohammed. All right. Hello. I guess is facing some connecting challenges. So what should leaders look out for in data? So much information is out there. What should leaders do?
The biggest advantage data gives us is it enables us to fly with light on. Okay. So I always say that you can go
All right.
about...
Sorry, we have Mohammed back. Mohammed, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mohammed. All right. Please go ahead.
Okay, so the biggest advantage data brings us is light, enlightenment. So for whatever you choose, you want to achieve an objective or a goal as a leader, data enables you to be enlightened. It provides insights, it provides trends, so you can look at historical patterns, more more visibly.
Sorry, Mohammed is still on. Mohammed, good afternoon. Well, unfortunately, I think today Mohammed is having challenges getting through to us. All other callers, please reach us 0531 982298. Sorry about that. Please continue your thought process.
Okay, so I was saying that data allows or enables leadership and then teams to work with light, because it provides insights on historical trends, on behaviors that are not easy to be seen without data. So data is the capture of digital information. And when that data is analyzed through a process we call data analytics, we are able to generate what we call insights. And these insights are usually telling us things as they are, things as they have happened, and things as they would happen.
For example?
For example, if we go back to our farmer friend, assuming the farmer had historical yield data, let's say they were into corn, they were into maize farming, and they had historical yield over a period, and they had something like weather patterns and waveform patterns. By virtue of capturing that data over a period, they can better plan and predict. I know now we have climate change and some of these things it's a little more tougher for farmers, but the data can help you prepare for seasons that are going to come and plan accordingly ahead of time.
All right, Winifred, sorry, I have to cut in again. Mohammed, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mohammed. Well, today's technical challenges
Afternoon, how are you?
Good afternoon, Mohammed.
How are you?
I am fine. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, how are you?
I am fine. Welcome
How
to
are
Leadership
you?
360. Please go ahead.
How are you, sir?
Please go ahead.
Yes, my main problem, I want to ask whether Ghana, are we there when we talk of digital age? I'm saying that I want to, is Ghana there?
All right. Winifred, is Ghana there when we talk about digital age?
Okay, so we have made a lot of strides over the past year. So in terms of infrastructure, I think a lot of Ghana is connected digitally. So we have a lot of work done in the telecom space. And I mentioned internet as a driver of digitization. So we have connectivity covering, we have available connectivity. It is the coverage that is not 100% within the nation, but we have 5G.
It's available.
It's available. So depending on where you are, we also have access to devices. In some markets, they don't have access to devices. We are very fortunate. We are able to have access to devices, but it is also how expensive is it? The affordability of these devices, the affordability of the connectivity. These are the main challenges I think we still have to overcome as a nation, because now connectivity and access to devices have become the enabler of economic growth. So from that perspective, I think we still have some grounds to gain. But in terms of the readiness, the academic institutions are training a lot of people. We are all doing different things to build capacity. I do a lot of career guidance and coaching. So we are building a lot of capacity to ensure the workforce and the people to deliver these innovations in the digital age, so that we can make more money and enjoy a lot more in the country in the digital space, and its advantages are there. So I think we are making good progress from various angles.
I think we have come a long way, and now we have structures in place, and we are on course, as you rightly said. This is from Brilliant from Tema. It said, thanks for such a wonderful program. I just want to know what initiatives there are as far as AI and technological advancements concerned. that the youth such as myself can leverage on to be in business or to be it business development and other career opportunities?
That's a brilliant. That's a very brilliant question. I think the opportunities are enormous for young people. You know, Africa has one of the most youthful population, and because we now have access to connectivity, a lot of people can either pick up skills in the technology space so that they are able to find jobs within the tech space more easily, or actually work remotely, or if they want to find jobs in the global market, it is a lot more easier. But building the right skills is the first step to overcome. So knowing which of the technology options to go into and which course to go into, so that you can get into either easy employability, be more efficient and effective to your current employer, or to be able to start a business. If you are into entrepreneurship, is the place the young people should be looking at.
Thank you very much, Winifred. Viewers, unfortunately today we're having so much technical challenge with our line, and it's unfortunate that we couldn't get through, but indeed we believe that you've gotten so much from Winifred. She has written this beautiful book, Technologies, the Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Technology Careers. If you are someone who is interested, or a leader interested in changing careers, or you are at the workplace and you want to pursue more knowledge in IT or technology, get a copy. Winifred, where can we get this
book?
Is it online?
So it's available at EPP Bookshop, Legon, University of Ghana, and then you can also call our numbers 0246 145538. I'm going to mention that again, 0246 145538, and then we can make sure you have access to the book.
Thank you. When you're having conversations like this, time flies so fast. We are at the end of the program, but let's take a quick look at our honor code, and when we are back, we are done for today.
I am a proud and firm African. I will take a stand. I will lead and be the change. Come and take my hand. For the safety, honor, and welfare of my country and company come first. Always and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of the people I lead come next. My own ease, comfort, and safety come last. Always and every time.
Welcome back. Indeed, our own comfort must come always last, because leaders, you must satisfy the needs of your team members. It's been a great time having you. Our guest has been Winifred Kotin, a technology and innovation specialist, who has given us insight into the new technologies around us, including generative or artificial intelligence. And it is for us as leaders to appreciate the advantages that these new technologies place on our way and use them for higher productivity, for greater teamwork, and for development of our community. You and I hold the key to the success of our countries. Let us play our role as leaders. Great having you. Let's have a great rest of day and weekend. See you next week. Bye.